Hello, this is Dr. David Green, CEO of the Arizona Pain Network, where we bring you anything and everything educational for pain management. Today the topic is an overview of failed back surgery syndrome. Well, what exactly is it? Failed back surgery is when the outcome of low back surgery fails to provide the desired outcome. And the result is chronic pain, which is termed failed back surgery syndrome, and it's abbreviated as FBSS. It is one of the most frustrating things that a patient can deal with, since he or she went the whole surgery route hoping for a pain-free outcome and ends with a resulting nightmare. Well, how big of a problem is it? Studies show that up to 40% of all back surgeries fail. 10% of all back surgeries actually leave a patient worse off than they were to begin with. Each additional surgery that is performed has a lower chance of success than the previous one, and it can just be an exceptionally depressing situation. Well, why does it occur? Well, let's go through the reasons. One is surgery was done for the wrong reason, and there's a 50% rule. Even the best trained spine doctors get the diagnosis wrong 50% of the time, and that's just a short part of modern medicine, is that even the best just can't get it right half the time. So a lot of times it's a roll of the dice. So if you do surgery for the wrong reason, even if you do it technically perfect, you're going to end up with a suboptimal result. Second one is surgery performed for the right reason, but the person was left with residual pain. So you could have a situation like what you see on the right here, where you have a significant amount of scoliosis and arthritis and disc disease, and you end up doing a surgery that looks good. I mean, these screws look like they're well placed, and these implants look fine, but it may be that this only gets rid of half of a person's pain. Now, in some people, they might say, that's great, I feel awesome, and others might say, this just wasn't worth it. So that's, they would consider that a failure, okay? Now, the third reason would be that surgery was inadequately performed. It may be that screws were put in inappropriately, it just wasn't a good technical job, and things fall apart. That could happen. Fourth one might be that fusion just doesn't occur, and then the hardware breaks. So it happens, you do a surgery, it looks good initially, but maybe the person starts smoking again, or maybe they're diabetic. Whatever the reason, it just doesn't fuse, and it ends up putting too much stress on the hardware, and the hardware breaks. So then it's a failed situation. And another reason might be that you do have a satisfactory outcome to begin with, but then scar tissue forms around nerve roots, or the hardware becomes painful, or you have segment degeneration above or below where the surgery was performed. So it might be that you felt great, and then you get back into a bad situation. So here's an example of adjacent segment degeneration. You have hardware that was placed on the right and the left, and then there's a connector here, okay? And that actually looks fine. But look at this segment above. This one looks fine. You have this disc space, which looks nice and rectangular, but then you have this one, which is pretty much gone. You actually have a bone spur on this side, which is kind of met up, and you can see how degenerative this disc is up here. So that's what's meant by adjacent segment degeneration. And when you see things like this, bone spurs going back into the canal, it can really cause a lot of pain for a patient. The question is, do you need more surgery? Should you just have conservative treatment, or what? Well, what are the symptoms of failed back surgery syndrome? Well, they're going to range depending on what the issue is. It might be the person has daily back pain. It may radiate down into the buttock area or the flank. Could have spasms and aching in the back. And if nerve roots are being pinched or scar tissue forms around a nerve root, it might lead to significant leg pain and burning and electrical sensations, sciatica type. So the treatment options for failed back surgery syndrome: first of all, the person should have a surgical evaluation to see if, in fact, further surgery is truly indicated. If the hardware is broken, or if there's a fracture, something that has a true indication. Okay, what you don't want to do is Christopher Columbus surgery, where someone just goes in exploring for the new world to see what's going on. That rarely works. Okay, physical therapy can be very helpful, along with chiropractic treatment. Low risk and can be high yield. Spinal decompression therapy is intermittent spinal traction. It is not indicated if there's hardware in place, but if it's been a spine surgery that didn't involve screws and rods, then it can be very helpful. Acupuncture is a nice alternative treatment that can do wonders. And then medications. This might be anything from nonsteroidal anti-inflammatories up to and including narcotics. And there are indications for chronic narcotics when a person has failed back surgery and there's no further surgery indication. When you get into the interventional procedures, trigger point injections are an outpatient procedure that are very easy to do, and they can provide a lot of relief for spasms and aching. Hardware injections, if the concern is that the pain is coming from the hardware, then the pain doctor can inject right around the hardware and see if that provides relief. Okay, it might be that the hardware is slightly loose and it just doesn't show up on films, so it can be helpful. If you have a situation where there's adjacent segment degeneration above or below, doing an injection such as a facet block or a medial branch block can be very, very helpful to provide relief. And then if that works and wears off, you can do what's shown here, which is a radiofrequency ablation, which is where a catheter is placed and deadens, heats up and deadens these little nerve endings here that supply sensation to those painful joints. Okay? And then if a nerve root is being pinched, then epidural injections can be extremely helpful. Now, the end of the road treatment. If a person is absolutely miserable, they've had all these other treatments and it's not working, then what can be done is called a spinal cord stimulator implant. This has been revolutionary because they've gotten so much better over the last decade. They actually work well for both back pain and leg pain, and there's over 200 programming options available on the latest and greatest ones. Over 75% of patients do extremely well with spinal cord stimulator implants. And you got to know that it doesn't fix the problem. It's not going to make the spine fuse or fix scoliosis or whatever the issue is. It's going to mask it. But if there's no surgical solution, what better way than to just mask the pain if you can't fix it, right? So here's what they look like. There's a battery pack that gets implanted underneath the skin over the butt area, and then these leads go around the spinal canal. It takes about an hour to do the procedure. It's outpatient, and they can work really, really well. The top pain management clinics in Arizona is Arizona Pain Specialist. They're comprehensive. They have both chiropractic, acupuncture, pain management, both interventional and medications, spinal decompression therapy, physical therapy. They take over 50 insurances at 5 locations. All the doctors are board certified, and they have won the Patient's Choice Award 5 years in a row. Call today for scheduling at 602-507-6550 and visit us on the web at preferredpaincenter.com. I'm Dr. David Green with the Arizona Pain Network. Your pain stops here.